Hi, my name is Pam Denny. I'm the designer and architect of the Maximo BI or Business Intelligence Tools. This is part two in a series of recording where we're exploring the new Cognos products and entitlement in the Maximo76 release. And in this series, we're going to start to look at Cognos Workspace Advanced, which is one of the three available report development tools you are entitled to, and we'll show you how you can use Cognos Workspace Advanced to build your own unique custom dashboards or workspaces. So what we're going to do in this demo is we'll open up Cognos Workspace Advanced, get you familiar with the UI, the functionality, the types of reports, the types of charts that you can create. And then what we're going to build up in the next few series of demo recordings is content. That content will include charts, list reports that will then display on a Cognos workspace similar to this. So before we get started today, I just want to do a quick overview of the various components that you're going to see in Cognos Workspace Advanced. Once we open up Cognos Workspace Advanced, it's made up of these 5 key areas. At the very top, we have our toolbar. And the toolbar is where you're going to do the different actions like apply a sorting, apply a grouping, changing the page layout. Those are all the available icons and features that are available up top here in the toolbar. Where's my mouse? Oh, there he is, over here in the toolbar. And the center area is your work area. The work area is where you build the content of your report, what fields are going to be there, what the chart is, etc. On the bottom of Cognos Workspace Advanced is where all the navigation is. So down here is the navigation. Again, by default, you're going to see the first page, but you can navigate through the various pages. And then you'll also get familiar with the concept of page design and page preview. And then over here on the far right-hand side is our content and toolbox. That's where you may spend quite a bit of time as you build up the content. So from your metadata that you have published from Maximo, you're going to bring over your fields or your attributes from the various objects, drag and drop them into your main work area to build up your report. And the toolbox section is a separate tab, and that's where you're going to add things like charts, or maybe you want to add a title or change the content. And then in the bottom is the properties section. It's not used as frequently, but it's where you're going to do all that nice formatting that you might want to do. Change the font type, change the colors, make sure everything is named properly. So again, that's a quick overview, but now let's get into the tool and start to see what it looks like. To do that, I'm going to come over here and I've logged into Maximo, and from Maximo, I'm going to go to our new menu, Analytics, Cognos Reporting. And what that is going to do is it's going to launch a new browser or a new window with the Cognos portal or Cognos Connection. I'm just going to maximize that, and again, this is the IBM Cognos Connection. And once you're in here, you can launch to all the different products that I had mentioned in our previous demo. Before I do that, I just want to highlight, before we actually create a report, you have to make a decision. And the decision is, what is the content you're going to create? Let's imagine we're going to use an example where we're going to look at some work order content. So I need to be working with the work order object and any related objects. So that's the metadata that I first start with. So to do that, I have a number of folders set up here in my Cognos environment, and I have a folder called Maximo Published, and it's where I've published a number of report object structures from Maximo to Cognos, and I'm going to navigate down here to work order details. So this is that metadata package again that I published. These are a bunch of test reports that I had created. I don't want to get into those. What I want to do now that I've selected my work order package, and you can always see that from your cookie crumb trail up top here. This is my navigation, so I know that I'm working in my work order package. Now I'm going to come here and I'm going to launch to Cognos Workspace Advanced or CWA. So again, CWA is that report development tool for a power user. It's a subset of the functionality of Report Studio, but it's extremely powerful. And you can create a variety of list reports, cross-tab reports, and charts that it can all come in and display on your dashboard or a workspace. So what do I want to do? Well, it gives me this nice dialog. Let's create new and let's see what happens. Now it's given me a variety of report types that I can choose from. I could go blank. I could choose that list report, crosstab that I mentioned, a chart, financial. I'll probably stay away from that. Maximo is more of these type of areas than the stock type reports. And also, I could have a corporate template that I might create. So maybe I want my company logo, and I could create that template and then have it available as my power users create the reports. The other thing is maybe I change my mind. Remember how I mentioned I was going to work with a work order details report? Well, if I changed my mind and wanted to go back and select another package at this time, I could right here from the menu. But I'm going to stick with that work order details, and let's just start with a base list report to get us going. So now I select OK. And now what's going to happen is I'm going to start to see that image that I showed you before. This is our top toolbar with all the different actions, and most of those icons will start to be enabled as I build up my content. Things like, filtering and sorting and grouping. So you're going to do a lot of work with the toolbar up here. This is the main body. This is where I'm going to start to build my content. Down here will be my page navigation. So as I start to build my report, I often want to preview it. So I'll look at the first and second page and maybe the last page to make sure it's being rendered as to how I expect. Over here, and our default is our source. So this is my metadata package. If I expand this, I'm going to see all the objects that had been published over from Maximo, and you can modify these in Framework Manager. But by default, I had a pretty simple one. I've got 5 separate objects here: work order, asset locations, work order status, and work order specifications. And as I open up any of those, I can see all the attributes that I can add to my report. And hopefully those attributes have been, cleaned up, and we only are publishing over all those attributes that we want our users to build from their reports from, because there's so many attributes in the work order table, but only those that are used for reporting are a subset of that. Let me switch over here for my toolbox. So again, this is where you're going to add any particular items you may want, maybe an image, maybe a chart, maybe a hyperlink. That's where you'll grab those items, drag them and drop them into your body or your content over here. And then lastly is the properties. So let me actually just come over here and real quickly add a simple field. Scroll down here and let's just grab that work order number field all the way down to the bottom. And I'm going to drag him and simply place him into the content. And as soon as I do that, I can now come down and let me open up the properties tab just so you can see what's going on here. If I had some special formatting, colors, foreground, font, etc. If I wanted to change the name, I want maybe leave that here, but maybe put in a label of work order number. I could do that right there in the properties tab, and it would go ahead and refresh the value. So then that's a more user-friendly name. And alternately, I could just double click on the field and also put that there. So to recap again, what I've done here is I've signed into Maximo, launched from Maximo to Cognos Workspace. I had opened up the metadata package, the work order details to start with. I highlighted what the main components are of Cognos Workspace Advanced. Our toolbar up top. This is the main body where we build the content. Down here is our navigation. At the very top here, if I re-expand this, our source is where we have all the various objects and attributes that I can add my content from. My toolbox is where I add all the different componentry. And then my properties, if I highlight that again over here, that's where I'm going to see various information and formatting that I can do. So that's Series 2, or component 2 of our series. And in the next series, I'm going to build up the content of this report so we can create a very powerful list tab or list type report that will display in our workspace. So thank you very much for your time.